Good evening and welcome to your Wednesday, September 25, 2024 edition of the Evening News. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for joining us. Let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. Guyana addresses UN on 58 years of aggression from Venezuela, reaffirms commitment to peaceful resolution. Government provides aid after storm rips roofing off houses, triggers flooding in Linden. 95% of public projects are completed successfully, says VP. New gold smuggling tactics being tracked, says GRA, and Norton defends APNU+AFC'S secrecy of US $18 million signing bonus. Now for the news in detail. President Dr. Irfaan Ali today addressed the United Nations General Assembly on a number of matters, including the Guyana-Venezuela border controversy. Here's Vanu Manikchand with our lead story tonight.
President Dr. Irfaan Ali on Wednesday afternoon reaffirmed Guyana's commitment to the peaceful settlement of the ongoing border controversy with neighboring Venezuela. During his contributions to the ongoing debate of the 7th and 9th United Nations General Assembly, the head of state highlighted the more than 50 years of aggression Guyana has endured at the hands of Venezuela.
Guyana is a small state that has had to contend with aggression from the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela for all 58 years of our nationhood. International law and its strict application have been our armor and our shield in our determination to protect ourselves from this aggression. In 2023, in light of intensified acts of aggression by Venezuela, the ICJ issued provisional measures stating that, and I quote, pending a final decision in the case, the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela shall refrain from taking any action which would modify the situation that currently prevails in the territory in dispute, whereby the Cooperative Republic of Guyana administers and exercises control over the area. End of quote.
President Ali reminded the UN General Assembly that the border between Guyana and Venezuela was fully and finally settled in the 1899 award by an international tribunal, which the Spanish-speaking nation was a part of.
Venezuela was fully represented in that tribunal, whose award it proclaimed in its own Congress and welcomed for more than 6 decades. Before reopening the issue on the eve of Guyana's independence, claiming 2/3 of our territory.
According to the Guyanese leader, based on a decision by the UN Secretary General, Guyana approached the International Court of Justice for a legal and peaceful settlement of this border controversy. On this note, President Ali welcomed Venezuela's participation in the case.
After years of refusing to participate in the proceedings of the ICJ and stating that it does not recognize the jurisdiction of the court, the Venezuelan government has now submitted a counter-memorial to Guyana's submission. We welcome Venezuela's decision to participate in the court's proceedings and express the hope that Venezuela will accept the decision of the court, as Guyana has long pledged to do. I reaffirm Guyana's unwavering commitment to a peaceful resolution of this long-standing controversy in full conformity with international law and the principles set forth in the United Nations Charter.
Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manikchand.
We now tell you that President Ali has highlighted the challenges faced by developing countries in accessing financing for climate change adaptation and mitigation initiatives whilst participating in the New York Times Climate Forward event. During his presentation, the head of state pointed out that transitioning to renewable energy sources requires capital, and developing countries are burdened with this financial responsibility. Let's have a look.
Whether it's wind, whether it's solar, whether it's hydro, still all of these require capital investment. It requires, if the private sector is doing it, it requires a business model. That business model requires return. So it is not right for us to examine these options without understanding contextually and in reality what the developing world is faced with. The developing world is faced with high debt burden. They're faced with lack of capital. They're faced with the high costs of financing. And then they still have to find money for adaptation and mitigation. So where that leaves you?
I just want to understand this clearly. Are you saying that your cost, you still face too high a cost of capital to invest in things like solar and wind, that you're having, that it's challenging to raise money to build those things?
Yes, I'm saying that the developing world faces an immense challenge to raise capital for all of these things. And if you look at a country that is transitioning, we said that we're going to build 2 power plants with natural gas. That's a transition.
Yes.
Because it's reducing the carbon footprint from petroleum product to natural gas. Now, it is a reality. If we're going to discuss the issue of access to capital, and you ask any leader in the developing world, what is your greatest hindrance to the transformation to renewable? And they will tell you, it is access to capital. It is the cost of capital. That's the reality. That's the reality. And if you look at this reality, you just have to look at the pledges that we make, that we go to COP, an annual pilgrimage. Everybody go to COP. They make the pledges. And then what percentage of those pledges are realized? What we have seen is that the financing gap is expanding every single year. It is not, we are not closing that gap. It is expanding every single year. And that is the real conversation. How do we get this financing gap to be closed? How do we get the countries who make the commitment, who, I give this example. Let me give you an example. The 2 of us are neighbors. You cut down your trees and you build a 14-floor building. I kept my trees. And then the world decided that, you know what? It is very important for us to have the trees. So I'm going to give you a grant to replant trees. But this, your neighbor who kept the trees, no, we're not going to give you anything. Thanks for keeping the trees. Is that the equation?
Meanwhile, whilst in New York, President Ali made an appearance at the Concordia 2024 summit alongside Chief Executive Officer of HES, John Hess, and Director of the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai, Dr. Rachel Freeman. There, he revealed that the Guyana government is working on introducing a prostate cancer screening program to facilitate the early detection and treatment of the disease. Already, government has rolled out a comprehensive cervical cancer screening program targeting women between the ages of 21 to 65. Launched in June, the $2.8 billion program provides $8,000 vouchers for cervical cancer screenings, which can be redeemed at participating institutions including New Vision Medical Center, Woodlands Limited, Hikwi Health Service, Eureka Medical Laboratory, and Dr. Balwant Singh Hospital. Through this nationwide screening program, test results will be available within 72 to 96 hours, a feat that was lauded by the Mount Sinai official. Currently, the Guyana government is working with Mount Sinai on its child and youth health program, and since August 2023, some 70% of nursery children have received health screening and treatment, with primary students now being targeted. Here's a look at a segment of that presentation.
Now we are doing 100% national testing for cervical cancer, and we are giving you the treatment if you need treatment. We are now moving to prostate examination. So this is a story that we are building out that is going to be amazing.
I will say, truly, if you or a family member have ever had to wait for the results after, say, you've had a biopsy and you're wondering about a cancer diagnosis, to only have to wait for 2 days rather than having to wait for potentially even months, that is a life-changing change. Not only changing the options for diagnosis and treatment, but truly changes how your entire approach to that disease and how you're cared for is. I look forward to the day when we can say, every person in Guyana who is diagnosed with cervical cancer, that not only is that diagnosis now starting to happen in the country, but that they're going to receive care there that's equivalent to what they would get anywhere else in the world. And that's something that the Ministry of Health is actively putting in place. The equipment, the training for our partners from Mount Sinai are working closely with them in that day by day. And I hope along with that, that all of the kids will get their HPV vaccines to prevent any new cervical cancer from developing in the future. In less than a year, the government of Guyana has launched a school-based health screening program nationally. They started with the nursery school students, who are the 3 to 5-year-olds. And typically there hasn't been a place, and this is not, Guyana's not unique in this. This is true in almost all of the countries around the world. There are often not places for children to get routine evaluations or screening after they are babies and kind of finish their first sets of shots. So in Guyana now, they're starting every year to provide each school-going child with a full health exam, checking their vision, their hearing, looking for dental issues, making sure that they do have that full checkup, looking for learning delays or challenges with their growth, and then creating the referrals and connections so that right there in that community, each family, if there is an issue detected, gets connected into the services that are needed, whether that's classes for the child who needs it, whether that's dental care moving forward. And in less than a year, this first year of implementation, they've managed to screen 70% of the eligible nursery school students. That's an incredible feat. I've been working in child health globally for more than 20 years. I've never seen a program scale up across an entire country like this so quickly. And we're excited right now, in fact, even as we speak, to be launching the primary school screenings for the kids who are 6 to 12 or 13 years old, and it will then move to secondary school from there.
Several houses in Linden, Region 10, have been impacted following a storm last evening. Kelroy Williams reports that some houses saw their zinc roofs being ripped off, while others were affected by flooding.
On Tuesday night, turmoil erupted as heavy winds and rain swept through the mining town of Linden in Region 10. According to information received, some 20 structures were damaged. These structures were left exposed to the elements as heavy winds damaged and in some cases ripped off the entire roof of these homes. Moreover, flash flooding also affected several residents as heavy rains washed through the town. Visiting the affected areas on Wednesday was Public Works Minister Guan Ejil alongside local government and regional development minister Sonia Parag, as well as officials from the Civil Defense Commission. In an interview with the Evening News, Town Clerk Leonard Gasper highlighted that rebuilding efforts are underway.
They have opened a line of credit with most of the hardware stores to be able to supply zinc sheet. And hopefully contractors are put to work. Well, not hopefully, contractors are put to work to be able to have those roof repairs and covered before sundown.
In an effort to further speed up repair efforts, the town clerk reveals that the central government has already engaged with over 20 contractors.
There are about 80-something contractors, but I think about 60 were basically because this is more or less voluntary on their part. Right, but the government will be making available the zinc sheet.
Meanwhile, Regional Chairman Darren Adams assured that the administration will continue to work to provide relief to residents.
That your elected officials are making every attempt to secure measures that would help us to mitigate the effects of these weather challenges, including the accompanying flooding and erosion being experienced.
Through the central government, materials donated to affected residents included tarpaulins, hygienic products, and food hampers. Kelroy Williams, The Evening News.
Coming up, MOE launches review of TVET curriculum for grades 7 to 9, and government must work with private sector to take profit out of crime, says FIU director. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
It's Scipio, it's Scipio. It's Scipio time. Man, girl and boy, from every nation in the Caribbean. Larger than life, we're building legends in this Caribbean nation. We're all in, it's CPL time.
We're all in. Republic Bank, title sponsor and official bank of the Republic Bank Caribbean.
I am Simone Ford, and I'm the owner of Siege Eco Clean Services. I provide my services to the oil and gas sector. We provide janitorial services which are environmentally friendly. So we produce healthier homes and healthier workspaces.
You can tell from the crowd who's up next. It's Premier's star player, whose world-class stats put him in a league of his own. Premier's rise to stardom has been one for the record books. The first team to get a GY A+ rating. They boast a strong solvency and A-class service. Ladies and gentlemen, you're witnessing Premier's financial and technical strength that is out of this world.
Premier. Premier insurance coverage for less.
The oil and gas industry is helping to transform safety standards across all sectors of Guyana. The government and industry leaders are pioneering safer offshore oil production with new legislation, updated policies, and state-of-the-art floating production, storage, and offloading vessels.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. The Ministry of Education has launched a comprehensive review and rewriting of the technical and vocational education and training curriculum for grades 7 to 9. This ambitious initiative, led by Deputy Chief Education Officer with responsibility for technical education, Dr. Ritish Tolaram, marks a significant step forward in preparing Guyana's youth for the demands of the 21st century workforce. The review process was successfully negotiated through a collaborative effort with the World Bank, recognizing the evolving demands of the job market and the necessity for a more dynamic and forward-thinking educational framework. This initiative will equip students with the relevant skills needed to thrive in contemporary industries. The revamped curriculum will not only enhance the quality of education for students across Guyana, but also foster critical thinking, creativity, and practical skills that are crucial for their personal and professional development. As part of this initiative, the Ministry of Education seeks to align the new TVET curriculum with current industry standards and global educational best practices. This realignment will offer students hands-on practical experience in various technical and vocational fields, ensuring they are well prepared for both higher education and the job market. We now tell you that in light of concerns regarding a number of public projects, Vice President Dr. Bar Jagdeo has contended that only a small percentage of them are actually problematic. As we hear in this Luana McAllister report, the VP says 95% of public projects are successfully executed.
Vice President Dr. Bar Jagdeo on Tuesday met with the heads and accounting officers of public sector agencies on the country's procurement rules. In an open and candid discussion at the Ortachown Conference Center, Jagdeo made it clear that any departure from the regulations would not be tolerated. Nevertheless, the Vice President acknowledged the challenges agencies face in managing the country's unprecedented public sector investment program. In this regard, he revealed that 95% of public projects are completed successfully and in compliance with procurement rules. Against this backdrop, he criticized the parliamentary opposition for focusing disprioritarily on the problematic 5%. Meanwhile, at the meeting on Tuesday, Jagdeo stressed that all public officials must familiarize themselves with the Procurement Act and standard bidding documents and fully comply with the rules. Nevertheless, he said should the need arise to depart from the standard bidding documents, it should only occur with prior approval from the National Procurement and Tender Administration Board. Meanwhile, Jagdeo also condemned instances where there has been deliberate slowdown of project implementation by some agencies, which leads to a year-end rush and is then used to justify sole sourcing of contracts. He also expressed concerns about the increasing use of restrictive tendering by some agencies, often without a valid justification. While restrictive tendering may be necessary for complex projects, Jagdeo cautioned that it should not be used to favor specific contractors and called on NPTAB to closely scrutinize any requests for such tenders. The vice president also condemned the inflation of bills and warned that this practice would not be tolerated. He also voiced concerns about conflicts of interest in some regional democratic councils and government agencies where officials have private companies and are bidding within the agencies where they work. He made it clear that those wishing to be contractors must leave their government positions. LaWanda McAllister, The Evening News.
The Private Sector Commission today hosted an illicit trade seminar with the government of Guyana through the Financial Intelligence Unit, acknowledging the need to work with businesses to ensure that certain crimes are no longer financially feasible. Jarl Bryan was there and filed this report.
The Illicit Trade Seminar on Wednesday at the Marriott Hotel in Georgetown brought together participants from relevant agencies and security services, as well as private sector representatives. One such agency is the Financial Intelligence Unit, FIU, an important body that receives reports of financial crimes and forwards them to the relevant law enforcement agencies for action. Director of the FIU, Matthew Langevine, stressed the need for a robust anti-money laundering framework, which is critical for ensuring legitimate businesses are protected. He noted that this is dependent on the government working with the private sector and ensuring that there is no profit incentive for smuggling and illicit trade.
The importance of maintaining a robust anti-money laundering framework is critical towards maintaining the right climate for legitimate businesses to thrive. This is particularly important for a country like Guyana that is on a significant growth trajectory given the emergence of our oil and gas sector. The government must therefore continue to support the private sector in this regard by continuing to address the threats and challenges faced by businesses, by actors involved in the illicit activities including illicit trade and trade-based money laundering. Ultimately, we have to work together to take the profit out of crime in whatever form it is practiced.
Langevine also provided some insights into the reports his unit has received over the last 4 years. Of these reports, less than 10% of those referred for further action were related to illicit trade.
The FIU received on average about 180 suspicious transaction reports from reporting entities over the last 4 years. A very small percentage, I would say not more than 10%, of these referrals were associated to illicit trade. There have been some cases, including involving smuggling, various types of smuggling, which were analyzed and referred for further action by the relevant law enforcement agency.
During the seminar, PSC Chairman Komal Singh also spoke of the importance of collaboration between the state and the private sector. As a matter of fact, the PSC has sought to do just that, such as setting up an illicit trade desk to receive complaints regarding this scourge and forward them to the authorities.
The expectation of this illicit trade desk was simply to forge collaboration with the stakeholders and also to create a stronger relationship with the enforcement arms of the government. We recognize that the enforcement arm of the government are doing quite a bit of work at the moment. We have seen a lot of smuggling being caught by the GRA, but without the proper intelligence, we're very confident that those information, if it's not shared with those agencies, then it reduces the amount of effort and what they can do to help mitigate this. As a result of that, the illicit trade desk at the Private Sector Commission will be a desk that will gather these data, tabulated properly, make sure that we have all the requisite information and evidence, and when we satisfy that these information are properly put together, we're going to then engage the respective agency.
According to Singh, Guyana is losing billions of dollars in revenue to illicit trade, and with the market share being lost to smuggling being as significant as it is, urgent action is necessary. Jarrell O'Brien, The Evening News.
Even as law enforcement agencies have been stepping up their efforts to clamp down on gold smuggling, new trends are emerging as criminals attempt to smuggle gold. Jarrell O'Brien joins us again to report that these trends are being tracked by the Guyana Revenue Authority.
The Guyana Revenue Authority, GRA, was among the agencies that made presentations during an illicit trade seminar organized by the Private Sector Commission on Wednesday. GRA Controller Rohan Biku revealed that even as the agency clamps down on gold smuggling, smugglers are becoming more creative in how they attempt to evade the law.
Alarmingly, we've been seeing some new trends, and anti-money laundering is now, we have some obligations under the Anti-Money Laundering Act, and I think Matthew is on board to give a presentation there. We've been seeing some alarming trends with smuggling of gold, and those kind of substances, currency and so on. There are new trends in the form of some of the gold is being disguised as jewelry to try to evade detection. So smuggling from the regular traditional consumables, goods, vehicles, narcotics, gold, currency, it's all over. And combined together, as I said earlier in my opening, it's eaten into the very fabric of our society.
According to Biku, GRA has been stepping up training for its staff, all in an effort to strengthen its enforcement of the law. He also explained some of the other steps the agency plans to take.
One of the measures that we have done successfully, and we hope to extend it even further, is the use of excise stamps on some of these high-risk goods. The excise stamps we place on alcohol and tobacco products, at least for now, and that has helped to some extent, coupled with intel that we've obtained from the major players, some of your members here.
That being said, Biku also urged the private sector to continue playing its part, since they would also have very helpful intel they can share with authorities. With the U.S. instituting sanctions a few months ago on prominent local gold dealers, the government has been looking to beef up its enforcement against the illegal gold trade. Additionally, the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission, GGMC, has announced it will be on a countrywide enforcement exercise to ensure all players in the gold market are compliant. Jarrell O'Brien, The Evening News.
Opposition leader Aubrey Norton, who is seeking to be elected as the country's next president, has defended the former APNU+AFC'S government secrecy surrounding the U.S. $18 million signing bonus that was paid by ExxonMobil upon the signing of the production sharing agreement. Let's find out more from Kelroy Williams.
Opposition leader Aubrey Norton, in a virtual press conference on Wednesday, defended the previous APNU+AFC government's disastrous handling of the U.S. $18 million signing bonus from ExxonMobil, as well as their initial reluctance to release the production sharing agreement, PSA, with the oil grant until facing significant public pressure.
As it relates to the signing bonus, as far as I know, the signing bonus is not what is claimed by the PPP and government. It was taken to ensure that we can pursue the matter of our territorial integrity at the level of the International Court of Justice. And when that matter came, the money was there. The PPP's attempt to suggest that something illegal is a reflection of their culture. They believe everything that happens is underpinned by illegality.
Norton's remarks came alongside the unveiling of the People's National Congress' new 20-point plan titled PNCR APNU Policies, Strategies and Principles for the Development of the Oil and Gas Sector. He described this document as the party's blueprint for managing the oil and gas industry going forward. However, his assurances of full transparency contrast sharply with the APNU's previous record in office. During the APNU+AFC coalition government, the renegotiated PSA with ExxonMobil and its partners, finalized in June 2016, was not made public until December 2017. Months after the government faced intense criticism for its secrecy, at the time, government officials cited national security concerns as the reason for withholding the contract. In addition to the PSA controversy, the APNU+AFC government was embroiled in a scandal regarding the US $80 million signing bonus. Despite reports about the bonus emerging in early 2017, it was until mid-December of that year that the APNU+AFC government confirmed its receipt before the National Assembly. Many government ministers, including then Minister of Finance Winston Jordan, initially denied or sidestepped questions regarding the bonus. Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman also avoided directly answering inquiries about the bonus. This history of opacity raises questions about Norton's promises for a more transparent future under a new PNC APNU leadership. As the leader of the PNCR, the largest party in the APNU coalition, Norton's recent declarations seem to conflict with the party's past approach to transparency in the oil and gas sector. Kelroy Williams, The Evening News.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
There will be no scheduled retraction of the Demerara Harbour Bridge on Thursday, September 26, 2024. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed to vehicular traffic at 12:15 on Thursday, September 26, 2024, for a period of 1.5 hours.
Archery team grabs 23 medals at CDC tournament, and KFC GCC collaborate for Mini Singers Cricket Initiative. These and more stories coming up in this evening's Sportcast, sponsored by MACORP.
Hi, my name is Stephen Odip from MV Construction. I'm a rice farmer. I'd like to show you guys my Case 110. I own this tractor for 6 years, and the production, the fuel consumption, and the efficiency this tractor gave off is excellent. I would like to recommend this tractor to all rice farmers because for the application we're doing right now, it's excellent. The 110 horsepower tractor is excellent in the field condition we're doing right now, and the fuel is amazing. So I'd like to recommend this to all rice farmers that are in the rice industry. For the 6 years I own this tractor, the support from MACORP has been excellent. I had day-to-day support, a lot of physical interactions, people from the company coming down here and inspecting our fields, our applications, and our equipment, and all their stuff are up to date. So I really appreciate MACORP and the service they provided. Thank you.
MACORP, let's do the work.
Gold mining can be expensive if you don't have the right tools. Mining requires engines that can pump high volumes of water and slurry, the most tried and tested of which are Deutz engines. Deutz engines are among the most reliable in the world. Where can you get them? At your #1 industrial solutions provider, Sylvies. We have them in 2 to 6 cylinders, ranging from 23 horsepower to 80 horsepower. Most miners use Deutz engines because they're lightweight, use less fuel, and require less maintenance because they are air-cooled. So what are you waiting for? If you can't make it to our 31 High and Hatfield Streets, Georgetown location, we can deliver. Give us a call on 227-6226 or WhatsApp us on 623-7755 or visit our website sylviesonline.com. Sylvies Industrial Solution, proudly serving Guyana for over 4 decades.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhymeville.
Did you know Guy Super 95 gasoline has an octane rating of 95, the highest rating available in Guyana? This premium fuel is known to enhance the performance of your engine, making it run smoother and more efficiently, leading to better fuel economy and improved performance. Choose Super 95 for more mileage and better overall performance.